in the box.
Yeah.
Yes. Teacher, please zoom in.
Excuse me, you guys.
Yes.
Yes, Elisha.
Are we writing that?
Yeah, we
Hey
are
guys,
writing
we are
down.
writing the notes. You're distracting some of us.
What are we writing?
Man, wagwan.
Guys, okay, the table is empty. Okay, the table is empty. Now here where teacher has put these words, we have eukaryotic cells, prokaryotic cells, blah blah blah. We're supposed to choose the correct answer and put it under the correct part of the table. You get?
Can you please give me the parts I've just joined?
Okay, so the table has 3 parts.
Which
Kingdom,
table?
the table was above. So
Yes.
I'm telling you. Teacher
Okay,
has put,
they
that's
have
the
given us a table showing the kingdom, the features, and the examples. And the teacher has left us to write the for example, the feature of fungi and also the example.
Have you guys got that table?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Teacher, now please could you go up?
Scroll down, please. Thanks.
Okay, now you're supposed to use these answers.
The bacteria is missing in the table above.
Can you please go back to the table?
Bacteria is missing.
Use what's in the table.
Go back to the table.
Could you guys please go back to the table?
Yeah.
That's when we say bacteria. Bacteria is not among the kingdoms.
Use an example here before we compare the ones down. If you get carbon and you react it with heat is involved.
Excuse me, teacher, could you please zoom in?
Okay, this reaction is not possible. This reaction is not possible.
Please scroll to the table. Excuse me, which reactions are we talking about?
I think it's another teacher. I think she's in the wrong class.
Okay, thank you. I was just confused.
Which percentage?
Let's put on the table.
This.
These guys are so.
What happened to that teacher?
Excuse me, can we like discuss because we are like lost? We don't know what to feel inside.
Is there a table?
No, you guys, where is the teacher?
Is there a table?
Guys, it's the
Guys,
It is
this
like this. Among features,
Inside.
let's see that's the answers under features. Then the second question is giving the examples. So questions to get the example. Let me say, under plants, you put the cotyledons. That's what.
The table.
Okay, you guys who has elements on his laptop or computer, you go there. That work is on elements.
So like
okay, I've noticed some of you love talking more than working. May soon. Okay, finished, eh?
Yes.
And those that have just come are now wondering which teacher, what are we doing, which subject? Eh? Okay, so the column that we had up there had three columns, one for the kingdom, one for the characteristics, and then one for the organisms, the examples. I think for simplicity, we shall start with the characteristics. Eh? Let us start with the characteristics. So we have a list of characteristics there. It's just a matter of now picking from those characteristics to complete our table. So if I can now show both, which has eukaryotic cells, that one would apply to which kingdoms? Yes, Bukenya. Which kingdoms there have eukaryotic cells? Bukenya area?
Kingdom plant and kingdom animalia.
Kingdom plant and let us be organized. Kingdom plant and animalia have eukaryotic cells. Plant and animalia. That is according to Alia. Yes, Owini?
I said protopista. I'm even lost. What am I saying?
And fungi.
Yes.
Alia, what did you
Carbon.
Excuse me, teacher, may you please repeat that characteristic?
Teacher is off. I think he has some network problem. Anymore. He's coming back.
There's only one person, or you're disorganizing the Gundi, the Zoom.
Alia, what did you say? Which kingdom has
One of them is kingdom plant.
Alia, what did you say? Which?
I'd say protopista.
Okay, the age Mukodaba. Let us please be organized. Let us be organized. You want to say something? I can see you. Give you a chance. Okay, let me have Agaba, Franklin. Agaba.
I was going to ask for the features.
The features are there. The table is there. That's the table we are completing, and below are the characteristics that we are choosing from. Okay, so the characteristic I'm starting with is has eukaryotic cells. That one applies to which kingdoms? Alia had told us it applies to plants and animals. Does it only apply to plants and animals? Azra,
No. Even
Azra?
fungi.
Kingdom has eukaryotic cells. Teacher, I was just asking for a previous, like what you said before leaving, but now I've got it.
Now, Dagire, Nisha, eukaryotic cells applies to which kingdoms?
I think they apply to fungi.
Eukaryotic cells applies to only fungi. To make the discussion much more easier, when I talk about a feature, you say it applies to this, that, so that
Yes.
Eukaryotic cells are also in plantae.
Eukaryotic now applies to which ones? Dagire, you say it doesn't apply to this, but it applies to the rest to make it easier.
Yes.
Okay. Gloria, yes, Gloria?
It doesn't apply to Protoctista only, but the rest it applies.
That is very good. Has eukaryotic cells applies to fungi, plantae, animalia. The only kingdom that it doesn't apply to is the Protoctista. So you would have has eukaryotic for fungi, eukaryotic for plantae, eukaryotic for animalia. Good. Has prokaryotic cells. That one applies to which kingdom? Amal Bushra?
Prototista.
It applies to Protoctista, and it doesn't apply to which ones?
To fungi and fungi, plantae, and animalia.
That is very good. Has prokaryotic
and
cells
animalia?
Has prokaryotic cells applies to only one? That is Protoctista. To the rest, it doesn't apply. Then has cellulolithic cell walls. Has cellulolithic cell walls. Would apply to which one? Use names that I can pronounce. I'm seeing here shy vibes. The name you say, use a name that I can understand. Shy vibes. Let me have Nabide, Rayana. Has cellulolithic cell walls applies to which one?
Kingdom planting.
Kingdom plantae. Only kingdom plantae?
Kingdom.
Okay. Only kingdom plantae. Could it apply to any other? No? I say to make the discussion easier, when you're talking about a feature, you say it applies to this and it doesn't apply to this. When you say it applies to kingdom plantae, you're not very clear whether it applies, it could apply to any other or it only applies. If you want to say it applies to only plantae, you also specify it only applies to. So now
Teacher, let me correct myself. It applies to kingdom. It only applies to kingdom plantae and not animal Protoctista.
That is good. It only applies to kingdom plantae. That is for the simple classification. So because we don't want to confuse people right now, let us say has cellulolithic cell walls is only applying to plantae. Animalia, no. Protoctista, no. Fungi, no. Has chitinous cell walls? Has
Teacher,
chitinous
kingdom plantae.
Fungi.
Yes, Marilyn?
Teacher.
No, it's okay.
Please don't talk when I
Fungi,
call
sir.
have an organized discussion. Yes, Marilyn, you're saying? Marilyn
No,
has
I was going to mention one for another characteristic.
Oh no, make it simple. Let us move in order. Has chitinous cell walls would apply to which kingdom?
Fungi.
Kingdom fungi. Only kingdom fungi. Has
Teacher,
chitinous cell
fungi.
good. Chitinous cell walls applies to only fungi. Autotrophic.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Teacher, you said that chitinous cell walls apply to only fungi, but even some creatures in animalia, e.g. the snails.
E.g. the snails. Okay,
Excuse
I
me.
need some. Before Amal, you come in, someone is sick. Someone is seeking classification.
I wanted to correct her.
Good. Yes, Bushra.
Teacher, I wanted to say they said characteristics. Characteristics mean like all of them have it, but not only one.
But
so
not only one.
Yes, meaning if it in Animalia only a snail has it, meaning all of them don't have it. Meaning it's not a characteristic of Animalia.
Okay, good. That is good submission. Yeah. Something else that I can say to the person that says even animals have chitin. The characteristic is saying has chitinous cell walls. Cell walls. Animals don't have cell walls. Animal cells do not have cell walls. And therefore, whereas we have animals that have chitin, to be specific, we can give the insects. The insects have an exoskeleton. It is an exoskeleton and not a cell wall. So has chitinous cell walls would only apply to fungi. Okay, autotrophic, Gloria Nachimera. Yes,
Teacher,
Gloria.
only plant has it. Only kingdom plant has it.
Only kingdom plant has it. Only plants are autotrophic. Okay. Anyone commenting about that one? Someone says autotrophic applies to only plants. Okay. The simple classification, it only applies to the plants. But I think I'll say something at the end of the characteristics. I need to talk about characteristic number 3 and now autotrophic. Autotrophic, we are putting it only for plants, kingdom plant. The rest, we are not putting it there for now. Heterotrophic would apply to which one?
Oh.
To fungi.
Fungi apply.
Only
fungi.
And the other kingdoms apart from plantae, because since kingdom plantae is the only autotrophic one. So I think heterotrophic applies to every other one.
Okay, good. If we've said it is only plants that are auto, then the rest of the organisms, the rest of the kingdoms, we now put there heterotrophic. So we should see heterotrophic in fungi, heterotrophic in Protoctista, heterotrophic in Animalia. Good. Consists of hyphae would apply to which one?
Fungi.
Kingdom
fungi only.
Kingdom fungi only. Good.
Only.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay, good. Often unicellular or groups of similar cells. Often unicellular or groups of similar cells. That one would apply to
Protista.
Protoctista.
Protoctista.
Protoctista. That one would apply. And fungi?
No.
Only
It has
protective.
multicellular.
It won't apply to fungi because it says often unicellular. Fungi, they are multi. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe apart from yeast, probably just a few. Okay. Always good. Often, always multicellular would apply to which ones?
Fungi.
Animalia.
It would apply to Animalia and Planta.
Animalia.
Yeah, and Planta.
Animalia.
Okay. Always multicellular applies to plants and animals. We don't have cellular plants. We don't have nervous coordination. Have nervous coordination would apply to which one?
Animalia.
Animalia. Only Animalia. Yeah. Nervous coordination applies to only
Animalia and maybe Planta.
There's something that I need to say, and I don't want to confuse you, but I need to say. Listening. Are you following?
Yes.
Yes.
Now you look at that characteristic of has cellulolithic cell walls. We said it only applies to plants. However, it can also apply to some organisms in kingdom Protoctista. Ever heard of algae?
Yes, teacher.
Algae are in kingdom Protoctista, and they have cellulolithic cell walls. So if a person had written has cellulolithic cell walls for Protoctista, that person would also be right. Another thing, you look at autotrophic. Autotrophic, we said it only applies to plants. But the algae that are in kingdom Protoctista are also autotrophic. So if a person had written autotrophic for Protoctista, that person would also be right. So as far as the feeding is concerned, the organisms in Protoctista, some are auto, some are hetero. That is what we have there. And of course, some of them have the cellulosic cell walls and some of them do not have the cellulosic cell walls. Then we go to the examples. Select organisms from the following list and complete the table by placing them in the appropriate examples box. Give 2 examples in each box. The green algae, where would we put them? Kalema Shadia.
Excuse me, teacher. Before you start the examples, what is the group which consists have nervous coordination?
Animalia.
Kingdom and Animalia.
No.
Nervous coordination only Animalia. Only Animalia. Green algae, where would we put them? Ataho, patience. Protoctista. The green algae are in Protoctista. Good. Penicillium, Amal.
Fungi.
Fungi. Good. Ferns, Olivia. Olivia. Fungi. No. Ferns are not fungi. Good try, though. Gloria Nachimera.
Kingdom plantae.
Ferns are plants. Ferns are kingdom plantae. Mushrooms, Nachitende.
Fungi.
Mushrooms are fungi. Good. Bacteria. Shifa. Bacteria.
Fungi.
Bacteria, fungi.
No.
Protoctista.
Bacteria, Monera. Neither.
Neither.
Bacteria, not Monera.
Monera.
Okay, bacteria.
Kingdom in that table. In that table, but their kingdom is not present.
Good, Najina, that is good. Their kingdom amongst the kingdoms that we have. Bacteria belong to kingdom Monera. Amoeba belong to kingdom. Amoeba are Protoctista. Good. The malaria parasite, Isabella. Okay.
Animalia.
Malaria parasite, animalia? No.
Protoctista.
Is Protoctista. Good. Protoctista. Then the dicotyledons, Achen Sidonia. Plante, good. Muca. Ainembabazi, muca.
Fungi.
Muca, a fungi. Muca, fungi. So,
can you please spell yucca?
Unjia.
Mucor.
Muca is, we say, fungi. Unjia. Ariam. Frog.
Unjia is small. Aisha is free. Becoming money.
You mute. Some people are disturbing us. Mute yourselves, please. Namagembe.
You see, I want to square.
Namagembe the frog.
And what is it? Good morning, pray.
Namagembe, some people are putting up hands, but they are not talking.
And man.
Navidie, the frog.
Animalia.
Animalia, good. The moss, Kalema Shadia. The moss, Kalema Shadia.
Kingdom planting. Planting.
Moss is planting. Viruses, Gloria Nachimera. Okay, Mbavu, Eileen. Mbavu, the viruses.
None.
Plants.
None.
Protoctista.
None. Okay. Viruses don't belong to any of the 5 kingdoms.
Any kingdom.
Yeah, viruses do not. I hope it is clear. Viruses do not belong to any of the 5 kingdoms.
Yes.
The tapeworm, Karunji Shiba. Karunji Shiba, tapeworm belongs to is frog Animalia. Yes, that the frog is Animalia. Okay.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
Excuse me, teacher.
We don't have kingdom amphibia, Pauline. Yes.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes, Najinda.
My son, we can hear you.
Yes,
teacher,
Najinda.
somebody was asking why don't they belong to the viruses? May I answer them? Why don't viruses belong to any 5 kingdoms?
Any of the 5, okay? Please
May I answer?
Yes, please do, Najinda.
It is because a virus is not a living thing. Okay, a virus has not yet been found.
Neither a living or a non-living thing.
Yeah, they're in the middle, like teacher said last time.
Teacher, almost all viruses are made.
Almost all viruses are dead.
Made.
Like corona.
They are manufactured like in a laboratory.
Yeah.
Like corona.
Like
But
coronavirus.
the work of the bacteria
Yeah.
is to make the vaccine. So I guess
And HIV.
Bacteria helps in making a
Okay.
vaccine.
Viruses don't.
And HIV.
Viruses for our classification don't belong to any kingdom. Why? Like Mason said, viruses are not entirely living things. Sometimes they are like dead, they are not living, then at another time they have characteristics of living. So for them, they are there on the border between living and non-living. So because they are on the border, then we cannot comfortably classify them amongst the living things. That is why viruses do not belong to any of those kingdoms. Yes, the third one.
Teacher,
yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Since you said that algae has cellulosic cell walls and is also autotrophic, can you call it a plant?
Can you call it a plant? No, we shall not call algae plants because they lack some of the characteristics of the plants. To qualify as a plant, besides being autotrophic, besides having a cellulose wall, the organism must be multicellular as well. The organism must be multicellular as well. Yet the algae are not multicellular. So that is why. So we cannot call them plants. Maybe for very simplistic classification.
Excuse me.
Avoid confusion. No, we can't call them plants. Yes?
Could you please explain how malaria parasite is protocystal?
Okay. The malaria parasite in kingdom Protoctista, we have two groups of organisms. We have those that are animal-like. They are like animals, animal-like. They don't make food, they move from one place to another, so they are animal-like. And then we have those that are plant-like. They're able to make food, for example, and largely they don't move from one place to another. So kingdom Protoctista is made up of algae and protozoa. Algae and protozoa. Plasmodium, which is the malarial parasite. Oh, malarial parasite. Okay, when you see malarial parasite, what do you think of? Do you think of a mosquito or do you think of Plasmodium?
Mosquito.
You think of a mosquito?
The Plasmodium.
The Plasmodium. So the malarial parasite is the Plasmodium. Plasmodium is
a protozoa.
That is why we are taking the malarial parasite to be Protoctista. Malarial parasite is Plasmodium. Plasmodium is the one that causes malaria, and it enters into our bodies. Mosquitoes introduce them into our bodies, so they are parasites. That is the reason why we are putting malarial parasite under Protoctista. We are not thinking of the mosquito. I hope the person that asked has been answered. Tape one, Genevieve. Genevieve Lake.
Say what? Animalia.
Animalia. The tapeworm is animalia. Lastly, the spider, Rana.
Animal.
Yes, Rana. Spider.
Animalia.
Spider is the animalia. That is good. That is good. Okay, now, since we don't have a lot of time, I don't want to start on something new. Let us just discuss for today, just discussion. Okay, I have drawings of 6 different organisms. They've been called insects. We haven't yet studied insects, but we shall look at the characteristics of insects as we continue. I have a list of those. I have pictures of those 6 arthropods, insects to be more specific. Last time we looked at flow charts. Do you remember a flow chart?
Yes.
Yes, teacher.
I want us to construct a flow chart for those.
But people, is it only fungi that has chitinous cell walls?
Yes. Yes, the cell walls. Then in Kingdom Animalia, let me just look.
Some people are still on the other number. We are now on the second number.
Teacher, we're going to start constructing the flowchart now, right? Or something. Okay. I was going to start for the images on the screen.
Teacher, don't just why we are doing a flowchart.
I have some.
We are constructing a flowchart for those 6. And there's also a guide here. We've been given a clue. Make a simple dichotomous key which could be used to identify the 6 insects. Use only the following features in your key: number of abdominal segments, wing number, wing size, shape of the wings, body shape, antennae, length, antennae, body shape, antennae, length. Okay, those are some of the features you're choosing from.
May you please make teacher? Please scroll down and I see the features you're choosing.
See the hint.
Excuse me, teacher. Didn't you already draw this flowchart on 11th May?
Yes. Maybe.
To count the abdominal segments, you may have to zoom in. You may have to zoom in. Otherwise, some of them are very small.
Excuse me, teacher. I was saying,
flowchart.
I didn't get the question. Yes, you were saying?
11th May. In the previous Zoom, that we should be doing. Since we already drew the flowchart, that we took from what we.
I didn't get the question that you're asking.
Teacher.
She was asking whether in the previous Zoom we had
does no
already
eyes.
drawn this flow chart.
She was asking whether at school you had done what?
In the previous Zoom, whether we had already drawn the flow chart.
Teacher, is it true that the termite doesn't?
We had drawn the flow chart for these 6 organisms. Is that true?
I don't remember drawing it, but she said that she was just asking whether in the previous
Yes,
Zoom.
I have it in my book.
In the previous one, we looked at writing a flow chart. But did we look at those ones exactly?
No.
True, we discussed the flow chart. I taught you how to write a flow chart. So now I'm asking you to construct one, write one for yourself.
We didn't do this one.
How to write
exactly.
it. Now you're writing it yourself. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
Finished. Can we start? Can you share with us what you've done? Okay. Let us have Agaba. Yes, Agaba.
I'm going to talk about the first one. A.
The first one is, how are we dividing these specimens, 6 specimens into 2 at a very first level? What did you base on? Agaba.
Yes.
Agaba?
It has one pair of wings. It has 6 legs with the same size.
Okay. Agaba, you now just...
abdomen is...
Agaba, you're just giving us... You're just describing that specimen. Me, I want you to give us your flow chart.
Excuse me, teacher, I can't hear anything you're saying.
Excuse me, teacher,
you're giving us the characteristics. I don't want the characteristics. I simply want you to give us your flow chart. You say, I divided the 6 specimens into 2 basing on this and that. These 2 have this one. These 3 have that one. Something like that. Yes, Apio. Apio, Nera. Apio, Nera, yes.
Teacher, I forgot to put my hand down.
Yeah?
forgotten to put my hand down.
Oh, okay. But you can still share with us your key. And someone was actually saying we had already written. So the person that said we had written this, maybe you can help us. Who said we had looked at this? I didn't get a name. The person that said we had looked at this, could you share with us your key, your flow chart? Okay. Yes, Agava Franklin.
I was going to say E and D have large wings.
E and D have?
Large wings.
Large wings. Does that mean we can divide our 6 insects into 2? Large wings and small wings, narrow wings.
Yes.
I wish you could actually go ahead to make your point clearer. Okay, let me have Rana. Yes, Rana.
I'm thinking we can divide the 6 into 2 depending on the number of wings.
What about the number of wings, Rana? Which 2 groups would we have?
2 pairs of wings and 1 pair of wings.
That is very good. That is very good. We can actually use that one. For the start, we can divide the 6 specimens into 2 groups. One group having 2 wings, another group having 4 wings. So Rana, which ones have 2 wings and which ones have 4 wings?
Insect A and insect B have 1 pair of wings and the rest have 2 pairs of wings.
That is insect very good. So we would have, so we take our word insect and then it gives off 2 branches. One branch is for 2 wings or 1 pair of wings. The other branch is for 2 pairs of wings or 4 wings. Good. Now, how do we differentiate A from B? We see A and B, they both have 1 pair of wings. But now, how do we differentiate A from B? Yes, Nasamba.
A has 6 legs, while okay, no? Sorry.
Okay. Yes, Mukenyalia.
A has a big abdomen, while B has a thin abdomen. Like A's abdomen is big, it's fat.
Okay, that is very good. We can use that one. A has a broad abdomen. B has a narrow abdomen. I think we can use that feature. So those that have 1 pair of wings, you put another branching tree, 2 branches. One branch, you write there broad abdomen. Another branch, narrow abdomen. Broad abdomen, in brackets, you write capital A. Narrow abdomen, in brackets, you write capital B. Besides the abdomen, besides the size of the abdomen, is there another way we can differentiate A from B? Ataho. Is there another way we can differentiate A from B besides using broad abdomen and narrow abdomen? Okay, Ataho is not responding. Let me have Akidi. Yes, Akidi?
The length of their legs.
The length of their abdomen. What would you say? How would you differentiate?
A has short legs while B has long legs.
Okay, that is also very correct. We can use the length of the legs. Differentiating A from B, that is those that have 1 pair of wings. A, when you look at the legs of the 2 specimens, the legs of B are very long. The legs of A are not very short, but they are shorter. So B has longer legs than A, or B has long legs, and we could say A has short legs. Good. Besides the broad abdomen and narrow abdomen, long legs and short legs. Is there another way we can differentiate A from B? Beja.
Using the number of abdominal segments.
Number of abdominal segments. How would you state that difference?
A has 4 abdominal segments, while B has 7 abdominal segments.
Did you say 7? For B, how many did you say?
7.
Okay, A has 4 segments and then B has 7 segments. Those are very good ways of differentiating between A and B. That is wonderful. So we have to critically, closely look at those specimens, closely examine the specimens. There could be a number of ways we can actually differentiate them. So we are done with those that have 2 wings. We now go on to those that have 4 wings.
Excuse me, I have a question.
How do we put those that have 4 wings in 2 groups? Gloria.
Teacher, the one of D like has the wings, they are taller than the abdomen, while the one of E, the wings are the same level with the abdomen.
But now you've left out C and F. Yet at this point we are looking for a way of putting all the remaining, that is C, D, into 2 groups. After talking, you mute, please. After talking, you mute. We don't want to hear what's happening in the background. Please mute. Yes, Gloria. So for you only considering D and E, yet you should be considering C, D, E, and F.
Excuse me, teacher.
Some have narrow wings.
Narrow wings and
wide wings.
Narrow wings and wide wings. Which ones seem to have narrow wings and which ones seem to have wide wings? Nabi.
Teacher, I wanted to give an answer that D and E have broad wings, while C and F have narrow wings.
Okay, good. We have broad wings and narrow wings. She says D and E have broad wings. C and F have narrow wings. I think we can take it. We can take that one. So she's putting those insects that have 4 wings into 2 categories. One category has broad wings. Another category has narrow wings. Now, each of those categories, we further have to differentiate the 2 that are there. How would you differentiate between those that have broad wings? So between D and E, how would you differentiate D from E? Yes, Atahu.
Sorry, teacher, my hand was up, but I forgot to put it down.
Okay, Amal Bushra, differentiating D from E, Amal Bushra.
Teacher, D and E, they both have small abdomen. And
Amal,
yes.
what I need you to do is show us a difference between E and D. Between only those.
The antennae.
What will you say about the antenna?
Teacher, this antenna for the E, it doesn't have eyes, and for the D, it has eyes.
Eyes?
Yes, so like at the end.
Eyes on the antenna. These ones are not antenna, Bushra. Sorry, those. That one is not an eye. Just call it a knob. K-N-O-B.
Okay.
So
So I can say E doesn't have a knob at the end of the antennae, while D has a knob at the end of the antennae.
Very good. Differentiating between D and E, we can see that the antennae of D have knobs, K-N-O-B-S, knobs, or we can say they are knobbed. However, the antennae of E do not have the knobs. Good. Do we have another way of differentiating between D and E besides using the knobs? Isabella?
Yes.
Okay, Gloria. Yes, Gloria.
Teacher, the abdomen in E is at the same level with the wings, while the one of D is not at the same level with the wings.
Okay. The abdomen of D seems to be shorter than the wings. And then the abdomen of E seems to be as long as the wing. Good. That is another way of differentiating. Wonderful. Is there another way of differentiating? Rana? E and
No,
D.
teacher, I wanted to say that I just haven't put down my hand.
Okay. Nakawoya. Naji something. Nakawoya. How else can we differentiate E from D?
E has 6 segments and D has 5 segments.
Okay, if you can count the segments, that would be a bit fine. But now the challenge with that is we have already considered number of abdominal segments when we were differentiating A from B. So if we had already used that one, then we don't use it again. That is the same feature.
Teacher, for me, I made another flow chart. Mine is not the same as yours.
Oh, okay, that is good. If you haven't used number of abdominal segments before, then it's fine, you can use it. So that would be fine. Another difference that I'm observing here is, do you see that the antennae of E are hairy? Look at the antennae of E. Do you seem to see that they are hairy, unlike those of D?
Yes.
That is another way we can differentiate between E and D. E has hairy antennae, like D. Good. Now we go to those that had.
Excuse me, teacher. What about the wings?
What about the wings? What else did you want to say about the wings?
You said that these wings are round all the other ones are like.
But not here, Gloria's miss.
Well, if you can clearly describe what you're talking about, I can also see if you can get the best words, the correct words to differentiate in terms of the wings, then that would also be okay. Now the challenge would be, you may not be able to get the exact words to actually bring out that difference clearly. But if you can get the best words to bring out the difference in terms of probably the shape of the wings between D and E, that would also be fine. Lastly, how would you differentiate between C and F? Nakawuya.
C and F, for me, I used 2 main body parts, then 3 main body parts. I said has no stick.
Nakawuya, before you continue, that would be wrong. We don't have any insect that has 2 main body parts. We don't have any insect that has 2 main body parts. So Nakawuya, that would now be wrong from the beginning. We can't continue with that one, Nakawuya. But good trial. I need someone to differentiate between C and F. Namagembe. Let me have Namagembe first. C and F.
C has a bigger abdomen than F.
Bigger abdomen, okay, but we've already used the broad abdomen and narrow abdomen for A and B. If you used it to differentiate between A and B, you can't again use to differentiate C and F. However, if you didn't use it before, then that would be fine. C would have a broad abdomen, and then F would have a narrow abdomen. Let us assume we have already used that one. Can we see any other difference between C and F?
Yes.
Azra, let me have Azra. Azra?
We can differentiate them using the length of the antenna.
What will you say?
We can differentiate them using the length of the antenna.
Differentiate them using the length of the antenna.
Activity of evaluation.
Insect F has longer antennae than insect C.
Insect what? Someone is giving us a difference in terms of the length of the antennae, but it's not clear. Could you say, be clear, Melanie? Difference between C and F? Yes?
Insect F has longer antennae than insect C.
Good. Insect F has longer, we could just say, because we are comparing only those two. So F has longer antennae, then C has short antennae. We could use that. And that will actually be a good key for a good flowchart for us. Now, I want you to convert that flowchart that you've written into a linked dichotomous key. Linked dichotomous key. We also talked about a linked dichotomous key that time, and someone was already saying, we looked at this one. So I want you to write a linked dichotomous key from that flow chart. And we are stopping here for today. Next, now what should we, because I can see many people here, many streams, so what should we start with next time? In other words, I'm asking, where did you stop for the different streams so that I can know where to start next time?
Teacher, central.
Yes?
Central. Central had drew a picture of the fungi and the economic activity.
Yeah, that's where we stopped.
Okay. That means you had looked at Monera, Protoctista, and fungi. Good. Yes. Yes, Nagire.
East, we had stopped on the flow chart.
You stopped on the flow chart. That means you looked at fungi. We had a in masses for them, they had looked at the viruses, but they hadn't looked at any. Now, this is what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do for uniformity, because I again don't want to take those that have studied some of these things behind. What we are going to do is we shall start with fungi. We shall start with fungi and then move forward. So those that hadn't studied Protoctista, now those ones we shall just see a way of moving along with them. But in our next discussion, we shall start with the kingdom fungi. Discuss the fungi and then move to the next kingdom. Yes, Navili.
Someone in the chat room is asking, what is a linked dichotomous key?
The linked dichotomous key. Let that be researched. Let that be researched until we move to it. Because the time won't allow.
Dichotomous key we learned about last time.
The time won't allow. But if you attended the other Zoom lessons, then you must have.
It's the same as the dichotomous key.
The one that has go to, but we shall discuss it again. Make some research. Otherwise, start with the fungi. Okay? Bye. Don't forget to do that.
Teacher North didn't learn any kingdom.
Those that did
On the Zoom lessons for the whole school last time, we had stopped on Kingdom Monera.
Yes, Mr. Katerega had gone up to Kingdom.
Yes, Mr. Katerega had gone up to Kingdom Monera.
Yes, so those that are saying we hadn't studied anything, you're lying, you see? So we shall, okay, maybe, okay, I'll see a way of bringing everyone on board. I'll see a way of getting everyone on board. So bye and
bye.
Bye.